Well, I just finished writing what's ended up as a very controversial article about Murdoch. Murdoch is believed by many to be a billionaire Australian, a conservative. It's not who he is at all. Murdoch, with a little bit of examination, is an Israeli. Murdoch is a Jew, which is, not an issue necessarily. But Murdoch's primary involvement is not in running newspapers as a way of making money. Murdoch is involved in politics. He's involved in politics not even for the benefit of Israel, and he's an Israeli citizen. And his primary relationship in the world is to Israel. But Murdoch is an ultranationalist, extremist Israeli, part of a sect within the Likud group of Israel that is suspected in planning their most brutal apartheid acts, groups that are certainly that are suspected in acts of international terrorism that are never written of. Murdoch's primary interest in the world is in trying to run the world with his money. And ostensibly, he is running the world as a representative of the state of Israel. That isn't who he is at all. Murdoch is a close associate of a significant criminal conspiracy of industrialists, bankers, and others. He is the front man for them, the person who manages publicity, the person who gives them control of governments through bribery and blackmail. And this is what the British people had to wake up to, that for the past 20 years, Rupert Murdoch has controlled their government. Their prime ministers were appointed by him, worked for him. And we've had 3 presidents of the United States who have essentially been appointed to office and controlled entirely by Rupert Murdoch and the things that happened during their administrations and the kinds of things that happen. Economic meltdown in the U.S., the EU has melted down, 9/11, 2 insane wars. Murdoch has been very significant in the planning and operations of all of those things. Since he has broad control over all public information, in the U.S., he controls dozens and dozens of publications, radio stations, and a TV network. And he and very close affiliates control the majority of news organizations in the U.S. Now, the thought at one point is that these people controlled the news and were controlling and misinforming the public. Now that we have clear evidence that through espionage, through blackmail and bribery, his organizations have been in actuality controlling politicians. I live in the state of Ohio. Rupert Murdoch personally spent $10 million to elect a governor in the state of Ohio whose policies are reprehensible. We would equate them, we're wanting to use the broad brush here, to Nazi Germany. Murdoch's organization has a literal stranglehold over politics in the U.S. to the extent that not only can he choose politicians, he in actuality writes laws. And in this case, why did the U.S. go to war in Afghanistan? Why did it go to war in Iraq? For no reason at all. Who did it serve? It served the state of Israel. Why was it done, and how could it have been done? It could never have been done without Rupert Murdoch, without him in control. Murdoch has 2 targets he's gone after. Murdoch controls much of the world's entertainment. So not only does Murdoch invent news that is continually damning Muslims as some sort of less than human being, the most severe racism possible. He creates entertainment products, movies, books, television shows that continually depict Muslims as dangerous, as inhuman, as dangerous predators. Racism. But he also, one of his primary targets is to go after the intellectual, he calls them elites. Those are the natural leaders that should be in any society the cultural leaders. By teaching people to turn against the educated, the intelligent, the accomplished, he has built in the U.S. and Britain an addiction to dirty sex, scandals, ignorance, and racism, and has pandered to the absolute worst within humanity. He has created, he and those with him have created a popular culture that has created within itself a political atmosphere that has led to the kind of degeneracy in the world we've seen. Continual war for no reason. News is now entertainment, and television, popular music. There is no culture left in the West.